This is Sally's Sweet Life, and I'm Sally here to tell you all about tip number 4 and 5 of how to lose some weight without having to exercise or even go to the gym, yay, and also without even changing your diet. Now, this is a 7-tip series, so if you haven't watched tip 1, 2 or 3, that's okay. You don't need to know that stuff for this tip. They're all standalone tips. But yeah, go ahead and have a look at that. And if you feel like supporting me and this channel, click the subscribe button. Also, if you want to be notified of any other videos that I upload in the future, all you have to do is click the grey bell. And if you like the content in this video, you can give me the thumbs up. Are we ready? Let's go for tip number 4. Which is all about your hunger and how do we honor your hunger. Well, let's think about your hunger in a scale of 1 to 10. If you're at level 1, you're not very hungry at all. But if you're at a level 10, then you are going to eat everything that you see and you're going to take out everybody in the process. You've felt that before, a little like hangry? Me too. Do you think you're making great food choices when you're hangry? No, you don't. And if you're anything like me, you're going to go for things like carbs. I want to carb up and feel like I'm eating dense food that fills me up really quick, yeah? Stuff like cheese and bread or rice and crackers and cereal, and oh my God, how perfect does pizza fit into this scenario, right? But these aren't the best health choices. So my point is, let's start preparing for your food and what you're going to eat way back on the scale of around 2 or 3, no more than 5. Now that doesn't mean you eat then, it just means you're preparing what you're going to eat way before you actually eat it. So you can still wait until you're hangry, but at least you've prepared and thought about your food when you're not so crazy in the hangry stage. So this tip is all about preparing and thinking about your food way before, when you're a little saner and a little more solid in your decisions. Tip number 5 is all about fullness and how to honor your fullness. So we can use the same sort of a scale. If on the fullness scale you're at number 1, maybe let's say you've just started eating your meal. If you jump to number 10, you're so full that you have to unbutton your pants to walk out. Do you know this feeling? Yes, me too. And it's really uncomfortable and I hate it every time I'm there. So I don't want to get to that. Ideally, what we want to get to and stop eating at is a 7 on the scale, not a 10. And 7 or 70% full feels like this. It feels like I am comfortably satisfied. I'm not full in any way. I've just hit the mark beautifully. And that's really what you're aiming for. So this is going to give me energy if I'm going to stop eating then, rather than depleting my energy when I have to undo my pants. Okay, I'm so full. So how do we stop eating at 7? Well, I'm going to give you 7 great tips to support you to really stop eating at that 70% fullness. Here's tip number 1. Ooh, you can get out a pen and paper too if you want to, they may help out. So tip number 1 is do a physical gesture. Cross your knife and fork or put your chopsticks on top of the bowl to make sure that you can't get any more food there. Tip number 2 is similar. It's also a physical gesture, but push your plate away or your bowl away from your body. Tip number 3 is just declare it out loud. Hey, I'm done. I'm full. I cannot eat anymore. Even if you're on your own, you could do this. It works really well. It's quite a powerful thing to hear yourself say it so that you get their message straight through. We're not eating anymore. Tip number 4 is slow down, chew lots, and kind of pull out and draw out your meal as long as you can. And it gives your body time to register your fullness. So when you do hit that 70%, it's okay. You're really on top of it and you'll know when to stop. Tip number 5 is all about if you're eating out. And you can grab your weight person to quickly box up any leftovers you may have on your food, on your plate rather, and take it away. Because if you're used to eating until you're really full, if you start eating at stopping at 70%, you're going to have a few leftovers there. So just get rid of them, get them out of sight. So tip number 6 is kind of the same. If you're out with friends or if you're out having a meal, get the wait person just to take your plate immediately. Whether you have a doggy bag or not, doesn't matter. Even if you're with friends and you think it's a little bit rude to take your plate before they've finished eating, just tell them, declare it out loud and say something like, oh, I'm sorry if this is rude, I just have to get this plate away from me, otherwise I'm just going to eat too much and not be able to walk out. And I can guarantee you they're going to probably feel exactly the same, and you're going to encourage them to do the same sort of thing. Tip number 7, and this is my last one, is if you're at home, keep the food in the kitchen, keep it away from the table where you're eating so that you plate up the food, bring it to the table and eat it there, rather than having the food in front of you in bowls so that when you finish your plate, you could just keep picking. Yeah, we want to hit for 70% for tip number 5. And to remind you, tip number 4 is about honoring your hunger. So you're preparing for your food way back on the 2 to 3 scale of hunger. Well, good luck with that, and I hope it helps. I'll be here real soon with the next tip for you. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you real soon. Stay well.